I wanted to give you a good news story on Christmas Eve, but sadly, that's not going to be possible. I can give you a bit of good news to start this one off, though. It came out that Francis wasn't exactly thrilled with the Vatican nativity scene either, and publicly told the press that any visitors to Vatican City should avoid the display and go look at traditional art that is on displays elsewhere in the Holy City instead. And that's great. But I'm hoping he had this bizarre display taken down if he hasn't already, because it isn't too late to remedy the situation. So that is some good news, although there's a lot really to unpack there, but I'm going to let it slide. It is just some good news, even if it's superficial. And now another bit of news. This will be the last time the red Santa hat appears in a video of mine, at least until next Advent. I know, so sad. Or maybe that's good news for some of you as well. Either way, let's get on to some news that is on the surface kind of silly, but definitely par for the course of things in the Church of the New Advent. To Vatican.va we go, which is the Vatican's own state news agency. It's sort of like the BBC or NPR, but for Vatican City. Headline: Vatican to go green by 2050. The Holy See is aiming to reduce its environment impact by embracing renewable energy sources, with the goal of zero emissions by 2050. In an interview with L'Osservatore Romano, the governorate's director for infrastructures and services explains the path undertaken by the Vatican. The article is by someone calling themselves Nicola Gori. Nothing says a major Advent and Christmas announcement like greening up the Vatican, right? I'm excited, and I know you are, for this initiative and what it'll look like when it trickles into your own neighborhood parish. Let's see what they say. Quote, the objective of zero emissions for Vatican City-State by 2050 is not just a dream, but an achievable goal, according to the head of the Directorate for Infrastructures and Services, Father Rafael Garcia de la Serrana Villalobos. In this interview with L'Osservatore Romano, Father Garcia de la Serrana Villalobos says the Governorate of Vatican City is undertaking projects and initiatives aimed at reducing environmental impact, waste, and energy consumption, and using more renewable resources. End quote. So this is an interview with one of the chief administrators of the Holy See, and a new buzzword pops up here: climate neutrality. It means what you think it means. Quoting Father Villalobos, quote, of course, this is done by investing in renewable energy, energy efficiency, or other clean technologies such as electric mobility. We are promoting green economic policies, i.e. circular economic policies such as the transformation of organic waste and bio-waste into quality compost, and a waste management policy based on the concept of considering it not as waste but as a resource. Many sectors will be involved, starting with energy engineering with the upgrading of technological systems, i.e. thermal power stations and air conditioning systems. End quote. The priest goes on to describe the concrete steps that they'll be taking, including installation of LED lamps, replacing the state fleet of cars of Vatican City with electric and hybrid cars, that sort of thing. All things that are completely plausible for a city-state the size of Vatican City, which is to say, tiny, and surrounded on all sides by the city of Rome. And I suppose it's a fine thing that they're finally getting around to living the message themselves of Laudato Si. Instead of being all talk, they are actually walking the walk, as it were. Why it took them 5.5 years since that encyclical was published to launch this program, I have no idea. But at least it's not just talk anymore, even if the program seems like an odd one for the Holy See. But then again, Vatican City has administrative offices and programs like any other city in the world, and they are bound to be secular in some degree, at least in basic methods and organizations. This is a prime example of that. Now, about a week ago, Pope Francis told world leaders that the Vatican would be launching this program. From America Magazine, that super happy, trustworthy source headed by Pastor Jimmy Martin. Quote, the time has come for a change in direction. Let us not rob the new generations of their hope in a better future, he said in a message for a global summit. End quote. More on that global summit in a second. That, though, was said in reference to this program, but could be said in reference to other big programs being run by his partners in his Guardians program that I detailed last week that he has helped launch, or the big New Start that his allies are openly talking about now, and coming to your country soon if things stand as they are. The Catholic Register has more on this virtual conference attended by Pope Francis this past week that launched the greening of Vatican City, which again should have been done years ago, given the contents of Francis's own encyclical, the focus of his papacy. And I am not endorsing that, by the way. I just want some consistency here. Quoting the Register. Pope Francis was one of about 75 leaders who contributed to the Climate Ambition Summit, which was held online December 12th, the 5th anniversary of the Paris Agreement. The leaders renewed or strengthened investment pledges and committed to cut greenhouse gas emissions and achieve carbon neutrality. In his message, Pope Francis said everyone has a responsibility to promote with a collective commitment and solidarity a culture of care, which places human dignity and the common good at the center. That means there are some measures that can no longer be postponed, he said, including implementing strategies to reduce net emissions to zero. Vatican City-State will work to reduce net emissions to zero by 2050 and will continue to strengthen and expand its efforts towards greater energy efficiency, improved resource management, sustainable transportation and waste management, and reforestation. Yes, reforestation. The Holy See also is committed to promoting a greater understanding of integral ecology, he said. Politics and technology must unite behind an educational process which favors a cultural model of development and sustainability focused on fraternity and alliance between human beings and the environment, he said. Cardinal Peter Turkson, prefect of the Vatican Dicastery for promoting integral human development, said more must be done to help the poor and the planet. God has entrusted us with this planet and its wonderful resources, he wrote. End quote. If that sounds like the program that many people are talking about now, and if it sounds like they're taking advantage of the present situation to promote achieving net zero emissions, you would be correct, or at least you would not be alone in thinking that. It seems odd that during Advent, just before Christmas, the Holy See and the Pope would be so engaged with this kind of work, but the work never ceases. The mission never ends, and the movement to achieve a green, balanced future is ongoing, at least for them. They never take breaks to achieve their goal, and in a strange way, they are something to be modeled after. We should work tirelessly for our goals as well, resting only on the Lord's Day and on major feast days and solemnities. Otherwise, the work of restoring the integrity of the Church must be tirelessly pursued in the same way that these leaders focused entirely on material goals are focused on theirs. Are you committed to the restoration of the integrity of the Church in 2021? I challenge you to embrace this as part of your own resolution for the new year, whatever that means to you. Remember, it should be done in accordance with your state in life, as in all things that we do. The Vatican has its 2050 green goals. Maybe we should have our own at the end of modernism by 2050, or sooner, preferably sooner. It can be done. We have the implements to achieve it. Prayer, fasting, penance, and bearing witness for the truth of Christ and His Church. That is my message for you on this, the eve of the Nativity of the Lord. Christmas is a liturgical season of joy, but joy marked with knowing that the passion of the Lord awaits, and with it His victory. Let us make haste to take advantage of the spirit of the season and the new year that is coming to make the best of it. I'll be here, and I hope you will be too. Until then, as always, pray for the Church. If you liked what you heard, share this video, like, and subscribe if you can. That would be really helps. Otherwise, thank you for listening. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.